Joining me right now is a House Democrat who was initially opposed to impeachment but voted in favor of the resolution on Thursday. Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, a 2020 presidential candidate. And Tulsi, it is wonderful to have you on the program this morning. Congresswoman, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Maria.
So you
Good
voted
morning.
yes on this resolution last week. Tell us why.
To get the facts, to get the information. There were serious questions and concerns being raised. The American people deserve to get some answers to those questions so we can bring out into broad daylight what exactly happened, gather this information. Understanding that the vote that took place was a vote for more transparency as this inquiry continues.
But what about the treatment of the Democratic Party? I mean, you yourself have talked about this process being unfair, and we see this unfair treatment every day with this impeachment inquiry going on behind closed doors. Can you give us a sense of what's going on in the Democrat Party, that we're not seeing more transparency on all of the above?
Well, I think one of the issues has been that only those who, are serving on the Intelligence Committee have had access to the different interviews and conversations they've been having. I think as this inquiry moves forward, once again, this is why I voted for that inquiry the other day, is to make sure that the American people actually are getting the information that only some members of Congress have been getting access to thus far.
Now, you've been, out there and sort of articulating your agenda proposals quite clearly, and yet you've talked about not being treated fairly by the Democrat Party. Tell us about that and whether or not you'd like to see changes there.
What I plan to do as the Democratic nominee and as president is to rebuild a new Democratic Party, one that truly represents the interests of the people of this country, that is fighting for them, fighting for their well-being, fighting for the well-being of our country and protecting our natural resources on this planet. I think it's unfortunate that we have seen, especially throughout this Democratic primary, how the DNC has kind of been, implementing their own pre-primary election before voters even get a chance to vote. I'm here in New Hampshire right now, and voters here take very seriously the responsibility that they have as one of the very first in the nation to cast their votes about who they would like to see being our Democratic nominee. That is not something that the DNC or anyone should be taken away from them.
And you're going to be speaking at this event in New Hampshire today. There's a lot of speculation that perhaps you'll run as a third-party candidate. Are you planning on doing that?
I am not. I've said numerous times that I will not run as a third-party candidate. And again, the perpetuation of that rumor has come from political opponents who really are just trying to create some kind of strange suspicion that I might do something else to try to undermine the support that we are getting from Democrats, Republicans, independents, libertarians who are saying, hey, look, we want to come and vote for you in the Democratic primary because of the unifying message and leadership that I will bring to this country.
And the no Labels, this interest group originally founded by John Huntsman, you're going to be speaking there today. What are the messages you're going to articulate today when you take the stage?
Yeah, it really speaks to the kind of leadership that I seek to bring to our country, where my commitment is to serve all Americans. No Labels is known for their problem solvers caucus in Congress and really taking the focus and the approach on actually solving problems for the people of this country, setting aside the hyper-partisan politics and working together with people across party lines. This is what I have done throughout my time in Congress, and this is the kind of leadership that I'll bring as president, because as I look out at the people of our country, I do not see deplorables. I do not see only those who may agree with my party or with my views on things. I see fellow Americans, treat them with respect, and understand that my responsibility and my commitment is to serving every single one of them.
Yeah, you mentioned the no deplorables. Of course, that deplorables comment came from Hillary Clinton back in the campaign days. She attacked you, calling you a Russian asset, which sparked a feud, a Twitter feud between the two of you. Let me ask you about that, Congresswoman, because there's a real speculation out there that we're talking about the origins of the Russia probe. We're going to be talking about it later. later with Jim Jordan and Lee Smith and Sidney Powell. There's a feeling that really she was at the core of it, that, you know, she paid for the dossier. She called Donald Trump an agent of Russia as well. Do you believe she had anything to do with the FBI and the CIA, that cabal of people putting Donald Trump in the story of Russia meddling in the United States? Did it start with Hillary?
I can't speak to any of that. I can't speak to any of that, but I can tell you that what we have seen in what she and her proxies and minions have been putting out in trying to smear my character, reputation, and undermine my campaign is really not just a message for me. It's a message to all Americans, even you, those watching at home, that if you dissent, if you disagree, if you speak truth to power and challenge the establishment view, especially as it relates to foreign policy, then you too will be smeared and attacked.
Yeah.
Look, I just finished, I just had National Guard duty yesterday. I'm proud to wear the uniform of our country and honored to be able to serve. And really what they're doing is sending this message through their smearing of me and my character, which, by the way, I will never be able to undo what they have done in trying to cast suspicion amongst the American people about where my loyalties actually lie. But this is something bigger than just about me. This is really about our freedom of speech, and being able to make sure that we as the American people can stand up. We can be critical of our leaders. We can disagree. Yeah. And the reason why we're seeing this coming from Hillary Clinton and her proxies and kind of this foreign policy establishment that represents her legacy is they know they cannot control me. And that worries them very much.
And you showed real courage and leadership in pushing back against Hillary Clinton. She went on a radio show and said that you were a Russian asset. Let's listen to this, because she said, I'm not making any predictions here, but I think that they'll go for the have their eye on somebody who is currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be third-party candidate. She's the favorite of the Russians. Where is she getting that?
I have no clue. It's completely baseless. And frankly, it is offensive on so many. It's outrageous. It strikes at the very core of who I am.
Yeah.
It was because of 9/11 that I, like so many Americans, made that decision to enlist, to join our military, to serve our country, to root out the evil and defeat the evil that attacked us on that day. And again, her attempts to smear me, to question the loyalties that I have to the country I'm willing to lay my life down for is absolutely outrageous.